leaders who actually take this vision and they started to work, and this was one thing. And second was that we made compulsory every people to have an IT card, which is now developed to different kind of cards. That means it's on our phone already. And of course, school system. But we started with so-called Tiger Leap already at school. So basically every student at school can make codes already and had access to online and so forth. So it's a combination of different things. Of course, you can't copy because every country is different, but you can learn from our experience.
I'm sure as you move around, you've been able to see the sectors that really drive this economy. Obviously, diamonds are the backbone. We're increasingly moving into other areas, but we really do struggle with the issue of economic diversification. I know as a young country, this is the conundrum that you were in a few years ago, but you've been able to extract yourself out of those circumstances. How do you advise a country like Botswana to move forward? Because it's been a battle or a struggle to really get the economy diversified.
I think one thing what one can do is to give more so-called power to private sector, because it started also from private companies and so forth, and collaboration with government. So this is kind of one kind of advice to Botswana as well. So I think it's most important, as I said, and also education is important.
I also know that the issue where we struggle with diversification, there's also an issue of a private sector that is still really reliant on government for business. I don't know how you've been able to navigate around these issues and really leave the economy to be run from the private sector stance.
We started to, first of all, to trust banks. So in 90s. And then we started to trust private sector. So we gave things away from government to private sector, because if they can do it, they do it much better. And collaboration with government is a key issue, I guess, together with private sector.
Diamonds remain the backbone of this economy, and right now there's a lot that is happening in the diamond market. The latest is the G7 calling for the certification of diamonds in Antwerp. This issue is sitting on the back of Botswana's economy. The issue really is to try, what they are saying is that they want to sort of divide or extract the diamonds that are coming from Russia away from the diamonds that are coming from do-good countries like Botswana. I don't know what your position is for speaking for your friend Botswana, who sits on this position now, having to deal with this challenge.
We did discuss with your president this issue, and also today we visited diamond factory, and the same issue came up. So what we can say is, first of all, we have to end this war. Yes. And if I manage to end this war, which Russia started against Ukraine, we'll get rid of these kind of sanctions as well. But I understand it's still an ongoing issue. It's not decided yet with G7 and so forth. So then again, I mean, to end this war is most important, and I understand that Botswana and Estonia are on the same side. That means we really understand what's going on, who is an aggressor and so forth.
How far are we from ending this war, Your Excellency? I know you've spoken out very much about the war between Ukraine and Russia. What developments are we making, especially through the multilateral systems like the UN? We know what's the ongoing conversation there, but really, how far are we from ending this war that is beginning to impact even small economies very far away from them like Botswana?
You're absolutely right, and that's a thing that is not only an issue of Ukraine. Of course, Ukraine is fighting for democracy. It's not fighting only for Ukraine, but it does affect. This war affects Europe. It affects also Africa. We mentioned diamonds. It's also a result of this war, and also grain and so forth. So when it does end, we don't know. What we do know is President Zelensky's peace plan. So we have to follow this peace plan, and I discussed this also with your president here. And of course, UN and UN Security Council. We have to make changes in these organizations to make it stronger. And we do know that there are not so many African countries in Security Council. That means these kind of reforms are important, and of course this veto, this aggressor is allowed to do now is another issue to discuss.
Again, when we talk about the commodities that make the backbone of this economy, there is tourism, and again, globally, there's a conversation going on about trophy hunting. Botswana is lobbying to be able to sell its trophies, but not necessarily trophies, because the trophies that we have really are elephant tusks that have been in storage. These are animals that have died from natural causes. They were never hunted. As Botswana lobbies, I know the Eurozone where Estonia is located doesn't allow for trophies to enter. I know in your own country you don't allow for the entry of trophies. But as a friend of Botswana in this argument, and as they lobby, what is your position?
My position is very clear, because Estonia doesn't allow these kind of things, and it's illegal to bring any kind of trophies to Estonia. So this is what I can also lobby and say to other countries and other leaders that this is an illegal issue.
But when we talk about this, also for many of the countries that have many wildlife, like Botswana, a population of about 130 wild elephants in the wild, they also incur the cost of conservation in one way or the other. And the main, sort of attraction is for foreign tourists, some from coming as far as Europe. How do we sort of help these economies finance their conservation?
Because we have a number of nature preserve parks also in Estonia. We started a long time ago. That means nature preservation is a very important issue for us, as well as conservation of animals and so forth. So it's difficult to give any advice. It does cost. I agree, it does cost. So, but somehow we managed, and I hope Botswana does the same. So we have to preserve our nature. That's important.
And then climate change, obviously, I did say that in the last week, or in the last month of February, we've recorded the highest temperatures in 40 years in this country. We are reaching temperatures of about 40. A global phenomenon, the issue of climate change has become very urgent. I don't know whether you had a conversation with President Masisi. He is a champion of climate mobility. In what areas are you able to help, not just this country, but contribute, especially through your, your expertise in IT, to help countries deal with the issue of climate change, at least in the sense of predictability?
I mean, IT is key issue in every topic, basically, and the clean tech, which we are trying to develop in our countries, another thing we can share with Botswana. So we didn't have time to discuss many things this time, because we had only IT people with me. But next time probably I take clean tech people and so forth, and also university rectors, which was discussed. I mentioned already earlier that education is a key also to any country to develop.
The world sees a regression in the gains-made and multilateralism. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has a famous tagline. He says the world is on the verge of a rupture. What urgent reforms does the UN need to make, or in fact, across all the multilateral institutions, what interventions should be made or reforms should be made to reorder the world?
I also already mentioned this, because reforms are needed, and the world has changed since UN was established. So there are a number of countries who are members now, of UN members. It started from 50 or so now, but now there are quite a number. And as I said, a number of countries are coming from Africa. That means we need more African influence also in UN and also in the Security Council. It's a difficult reform, because I have been several attempts also in the past, in the beginning of the 90s and so forth. But we should continue and not to give up. Otherwise, it's discredited also this organization as a reason why the UN was established a long time ago.
The leaders of your generation have started this conversation. Are you likely to see these changes being made, these reforms being made within your era, within your generation?
I guess so. I mean, as I said, we have to continue discussions and to make these changes needed.
And then finally, Your Excellency, you said yesterday, and we have read about it, you are a singing nation, you actually waged a singing revolution that gave you independence. This really speaks to the issue of arts and culture. I don't know what your impressions about arts and culture in this country is, and any potential collaborations in this regard, because we see this sector also making big monies for economies around the world.
I mean, yes, we are a singing nation, and I noticed yesterday and day before yesterday that Botswana people are also singing and dancing nation. You do even better, because when we dance, we don't sing, and vice versa. But you do so both at the same time. So something you should share with us as well. But we have, yes, song festivals in Estonia, and well, cultural diplomacy is also very important, and this is something we can start with, and to ask your singers and your dancers to come to Estonia, and vice versa. I didn't have time to visit any of your national parks, but I understand that tourism, this kind of tourism, is very important for Botswana, and going back and ask Estonians to come to holiday to Botswana, because especially in winter time, you got 40 minus, we got minus 30 sometimes. We got plus 40, we got minus 30. So Estonian people want to have some sunlight. So.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for this opportunity, and we wish you a travel message as you return home tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The road to destiny is not paved with brick and tar, but with vision and determination that unveil over time who we truly are when we get there. The Ministry of Transport and Public Works has embarked on a journey of transformation to enhance the efficiency of transport system in the Greater Gaborone area. This journey of the Greater Gaborone Urban Transport Improvement Project is funded by the Government of Botswana, assisted by the World Bank and OPEC Fund for International Development. The ideas adopted through this transport improvement project